So when we left off last, you guys had just arrived back at the little port town under construction on the island of Cathar. After traveling around from portal to portal, exploring the destinations beyond each of the gateways. The previous portal you had popped through took you out into the astral sea, and for a little bit you guys thought you might actually be stranded. Luckily for you guys, there were exits, ways to escape and return to the material plane that did not exactly take you where you were hoping to go, where you encountered a kind of strange hermit of a red-scaled dragonborn.
Ooh.
Who gave you food and shelter, and then you promptly robbed him of all of his research and absconded back to the jungle island of Cathar.
They were all bad.
That's where you're at. What are you guys doing?
Well, if I remember right, or have we?
You literally just popped into existence.
Okay. So I have that tablet.
Yeah. And she has a bag full of
everything else.
Yeah.
I have nothing. No, that's not true. I have
the random collar.
The random collar.
And Fifi.
And Fifi, which is all that matters.
I'll just kind of heft up the sack of stuff. Well, I guess I'm going to take this down to Caliste. Let her start figuring it out.
Shame on both of you for stealing. Did you get anything good?
I'm going to dig through the bag. I think this is a tooth. And then I'm going to pull out the dragon tooth. Is it a tooth?
Yeah, it is a tooth.
That is the tooth that he was petting and calling his precious.
He was going to summon an all-powerful
he called it his
evil
queen.
dragon.
Precious.
Yes, his queen. It was very creepy.
Do you want it? I mean, you've got Fifi, so...
No.
I mean, you're the kettle calling the pot black here.
Okay, but Fifi is an entire skeleton. That's just a tooth. What can a tooth do that Fifi can't?
Does Fifi have teeth?
Probably. She
Sure
doesn't eat, so she doesn't need teeth.
Shut up, Ian. That's all that look. I don't know. And I'm gonna dig through there. Is there anything? Okay, so I got the.
Right, so you guys are walking down the beach. You got a random sack that you're kind of digging through as you're walking along. People kind of checking you out, watching what you're carrying. As you pull out a big giant tooth, and you're walking along with this gold tablet.
Yeah, which
drawing a lot of attention to yourselves.
And Sylen doesn't know that the other half of the tablet is around because he wasn't with that group when that was going down.
That is correct. Matter of fact, nobody here knows that she has the other half of the tablet.
No, I saw it in her shop because remember it was in the glass case.
Oh, that is true.
Her work area, the weird quiet room that Dagmar doesn't like going into. Okay, so from Zarakis' loot, we have a giant dragon tooth. So, what are you planning on doing with that thing? Summoning a giant evil dragon dead queen?
I mean, I honestly don't know.
Wanted it?
It's large and shiny. That's understandable. I mean, if you want to know more about it, Caliste has one of those already.
Do I see that it's a half? Like, it's obviously part of a tablet? Or no? Does it not look like it looks like a whole tablet, basically?
Yeah.
Looking at it, is there anything that I noticed that seems familiar, or...
Is completely alien to you.
That's why I grabbed all these notes and things, because I know she's been working on that thing as a project.
You said that she's got a tablet like this?
Mm-hmm. Plus, Calliste is really, really intimidating. So anything I can do to get on her bad side, on her good side would be... I mean, she's my neighbor now, so...
I'm going to tuck it into my bag so it's out of sight.
Okay.
But
Well, about this time you are walking up the short flight of steps that goes up onto the stone patio that surrounds what is now the tropical lily.
well, I guess I'll head down to... Are you coming? Since you got a bunch of stuff, you said you want to...
They've got a weird, quiet room down there. You might like it.
Let's go.
You haven't been in it, but you have. You've been down in it.
Yeah, it's magically
Delicious.
sealed, basically.
So you guys go up into the inn itself and see a number of people, much larger number of people than you saw previously sitting in there, a few of which are all kind of sitting around a table, well-dressed, kind of rich-looking folks, possibly nobles or just wealthy merchants or whatever, who have helpers or aides or just general servants standing behind them, and they're all kind of talking over some sort of agreement with Eskin and Leon, while Tessa is kind of running around, kind of playing by herself.
Does it sound like trade or something of the sort?
It sounds like maybe it sounds like there's possibly some merchants that are wanting to open up businesses specifically here to kind of take advantage of the amount of traffic and everything that could potentially be coming through here, thanks to the portals. So they're basically negotiating buying property or leasing property and having buildings built and that kind of stuff. They don't seem to take too much notice of you guys as you walk in. You just go straight down to the...
Yeah, unless I hear anything about if they're gonna sell potions or potential magic items, because...
No, right now they're just talking mostly about land.
Okay.
And that kind of thing.
Well, if I don't hear anything about potions, which I want to keep an ear out for, I guess we'll head straight down.
Okay, so you go into the office area and then suddenly it just goes silent. It's just completely and utterly silent to the point where you can hear the blood pumping in your ears. And also the temperature drops by a good 20 to 30 degrees. It is cold in here.
I still feel comfortable.
Yeah. The desk area is currently empty, but as far as like people, but there's some paperwork and stuff spread across the surface of the desk, and then the two glass cases, one of which is completely empty, but has what was at one time like a headless bust type thing, where something might have been displayed, but is now just emptiness. And the other one has a large purple crystal sitting inside of it. Then you see a spiral staircase that goes downward into the basement.
Yep. I head down.
Alright. You two just kind of tagging along at this point?
I hate this room a lot. I'm following down the stairs.
Alright, you follow down the stairs and you enter into a basement area that's pretty much covers the entirety of the area below the villa. It's just this big open room with a couple of small pillars that basically help support the structure up above. But you see numerous tables set up with glass beakers and like chemical and alchemy type setups to create potions and test out magical items and that kind of thing. You see bookshelves. The entire walls are just covered in bookshelves and just thousands of books kind of packed onto these shelves. And you see a black-scaled dragonborn that's just kind of shuffling between table to table. She's carrying a book that she's kind of flipping through. occasionally she'll stop, tap a beaker, kind of look at it, go over some notes in a book, and then kind of walk over to another table and look at a series of these crystals that are set up on the table. One is this brilliant scarlet color with gold runes kind of drifting through it, but they keep kind of fading in and out, as though it's kind of unstable.
Can I see what it might be for?
It is very much just like the other portal crystals,
Okay.
but you don't, without actually going up and trying to identify it. Well,
So it's like them, but can't see like where destination would be.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. Okay.
Hey, Caliste.
she's like, kind of doesn't look up. She's like, what?
We've got some stuff for you. Like a big dragon's tooth and a tablet thingy. And
She
then
stops, puts the books down. Show me.
I go over to a relatively empty-ish table.
Okay, it's got like a blank spot.
I dump the bag out on the table.
She just kind of sneers at you, then kind of very carefully starts going through the various things. She seems captivated at first by the large tooth, kind of looking it over.
It's a queen.
Puts it down. Picks up the big iron book. It's like, starts flipping through it. Yes, this will do nicely. Sets that off to the side, kind of starts rummaging through the varying papers and stuff that she's collected up, and she's like, this will take me time. Stacks it all up neatly. Where's the tablet?
I pull it out.
She just kind of snatches it. She's like, same runes. I can decipher this.
See? I told you, it looks just like the one in the case.
She's like, thank you. She sets it down and starts kind of going through books. She kind of grabs bits and papers and sorting them out as best she can. But she seems as though she basically has mentally dismissed you.
Okay, so hey, this is important. This stuff didn't come easily. There was a red dragon born that had this stuff named like Xerakas.
And she stops. I know this name.
They stole it. I didn't steal anything.
Well-
Those two stole things.
It sounded like he was going to be using it for bad purposes. I know you've been researching the tablet. You seem like a nice person. You're helping out on the island and everything like that. This guy wants to bring back a dragon that will, raise the planet. So we brought that stuff back for you, but I don't know how you mage people work, but he might try and come for it. Nothing personal, Sylen.
I know this name. I know this Dragonborn.
It's kind of crazy. Tried to give us really gross soup. I didn't eat any though, and then he wanted to enslave Fifi.
Who are you?
I'm Seraphina.
She's an excellent singer.
I am. I am also a fantastic lover, as I have been told by many. And this is Fifi.
I don't care. Thank you for the things. Get out.
Before we
See,
go,
I don't think she has any friends.
do you have any potions of water breathing?
She's very polite though.
She's got
Or
legit-
very
No, I already
Blunt.
breathe underwater.
polite isn't the right thing. Well, hey, I mean, are you up to the challenge though?
Of making them?
Yeah. We want to go check out the underwater city. For the good of the island.
You already have enough ability to do that.
Well, I mean, but I don't want to go alone. He actually knows things. She knows things too.
And I'm
I
good
got
moral
that.
support.
Well, I mean, look at him. Look at his ears. Okay, if we're gonna go explore an underwater elf city, you would bring an underwater elf, right? I don't have one of those. So I'm gonna bring that elf, but I need him to be underwater capable. So
Sylen looks super offended right now, just FYI.
it's the next best thing.
I don't have the means to create these potions. However, you have brought me some valuable information, albeit chaotic, and will take me who knows how long in order to decipher.
Okay, but you like reading.
However, I can be of somewhat helpful. I know a few people that can actually get you items of this nature back home.
See, you're awesome. Where's home?
Well, I was originally from Blackwater, but I don't think that's going to do you guys any good.
Do we have a portal to Blackwater?
Pretty sure not. No.
No, not even anywhere even close to it.
Well, it's not like Dagmar knows that. I mean, we were in the fucking Starseed a minute ago, so.
Yeah, you guys are a long ways
Oh my god, we need to build a hut.
Build a hut.
So we can be Starseed hut.
What?
I'm sorry, please continue.
It was a stretched Starsky and Hutch joke.
I got it.
Thank you. This is my serious face. I am trying, okay? So.
Oh, I think Dagmar's dead, so I can take her water.
Right? How much does she have? How does she have?
I can't get you there personally, but I can give you letters of recommendation that can get you a discount when you get there. Or you could seek out these things elsewhere. I can give you this, however. And she goes over and she kind of starts clearing out some stuff, and she grabs a scroll and hands it to you.
What is the scroll?
It is a scroll of teleportation. I only have one though. I can't cast it myself, at least not without the scroll. And well, eventually I'll be able to do it on my own.
Well, we'll take the letter and we'll see what we can do. Thank you.
Of course, there are other locations that you could possibly get these things from. You could travel back to Arandia.
Arandia's probably got it. I mean, they've got a lot of cleric people there.
You could also go to, but you also have the ability to travel to a major metropolis without having to go through Bramblemarsh. You could go to the city of Deshay.
Whoa, hang on. Is Deshay the one with the dead people?
It's in Diora.
That's right. That's where Dorian's from. I don't want to go there. We could go to Arandia.
Yeah, I don't want to see him again. It was very messy when we broke up. He was very clingy.
It's the prehensile tail, I think. She's like, huh.
Don't mention that.
Well, I think that all this is something that we can figure out when we've had real food and real ale from Erskine, because that slug sludge that he was trying to feed us last night was not food.
I didn't eat it, so I am very hungry. And Fifi is
A bottomless pit.
That too.
Thank you for your time, and good luck with the papers.
Once I get it deciphered, perhaps I can hire you guys to take me on an expedition.
That'd be pretty neat. I don't know if any of that is like translatable, but he was pretty furiously scribbling.
He's insane. Who knows?
He is insane.
Yeah.
He gave me this collar to enslave Fifi.
Maybe he didn't know that she was already bound to you, though.
But he was asking me if I was loyal to you and Sylen. So he was a double crosser, for sure.
And definitely worth stealing from.
Probably.
There, my conscience is clear. Let's go eat.
Alright.
I don't like eating on a fuzzy conscience.
Alright, so you make your way back upstairs, through the office and back into the common room. And it's the sound just kind of hits you like a wave as you step back out.
Oh, that's weird.
As does the incredible heat.
And the smells of the gnomes.
Alright, so you guys sit down at a table, get some food, and this gives you some time to discuss what your plans are.
So, I need a refresher on where we can actually, what places. That's right, Deshay, Bramble Marsh, and is it Arandia? Those are like the three main places. Or...
You can't actually, well, not without the scroll, you can't actually teleport to Arandia. You can basically use your personal stone, not again today, but tomorrow,
to come back
to go to either Bramble Marsh or Deshay.
Right.
But you could also take one of the two gates to Deshay or Bramble Marsh. Like right
and they would have gates coming back too.
Right.
Right.
I love that we got a coupon for a water breathing potions though.
I mean, if you didn't want to go to Deshay, I could take a trip by myself, pick up what I think we need, and come back.
Do you think that it's okay for him to be on his own?
I don't want to split the party. Like, that's always an important thing.
Yeah.
I mean, we
I just
already got
don't think
separated
he's
in
very self-sufficient.
the Astral Sea. Plus, yeah, supervision. Fifi's got to keep an eye on all of us.
That's right. She is the leader.
She's over there, like, chewing on the edge of your robe.
I think she's chewing on her own.
Do I, in my research, do I know how far down the city is? How long it would take to get there?
What do you mean?
Underwater? Like how, like travel time?
You're not really certain. The documentation that you know about the city was well before it actually
Sank.
And the letter, well, those letters are for the Dragonborn from her hometown, so that wouldn't do us any good in Deshay or Ground Marsh.
And it's not specifically for potions. It just it's a letter to a counterpart of hers to basically cut you a deal on some items.
Yeah. If I remember right, the potions of water breathing only last for an hour.
Yeah, I think so.
Alright. So potions last, I think, for about an hour. I don't know how much magical items of water breathing would cost. Something a little more permanent.
At least we only need 2.
So yours is, there's no limit on it, you're good to...
I put it on, it's this fancy cloak, I'll pull it out of my bag. And it's with the hood on, I can breathe underwater and I have a swim speed. So I can move quick underwater. It's a handy item for a sailor to have. Not that I fall overboard very often.
Probably never fall overboard.
Never sober.
You're never sober?
No, I've never fallen overboard while sober.
Oh.
Has anybody brought us food yet?
Yes, dear. You guys are
Happily eating and drinking away.
trying to figure out how you're going to get the items you require in order to
mean,
continue.
Between the two of them, Deshay is more likely to have what we need.
Yeah.
Well, more likely than Bramble Marsh. Yeah, that's for certain.
Alright, it's gonna be super awkward if we see Dorian, but
That's highly unlikely.
I don't think he was planning on going back until after this.
he has like a magnet attached to that man. It's just,
All over you.
yeah. But I'm willing to do it for the party.
Maybe he has cute family members.
That's true. Alright, let's go.
Yeah, we can go to Deshay. We have to try really hard not to get into any trouble there. They have a lot of rules there.
If anyone's gonna get into trouble,
It's
you.
me. It is absolutely me.
And I'm not a very good chaperone.
More and more you guys are talking to me, feeling like I should go by myself.
That's not really an option.
Yeah, we have to stick together. What if you get kidnapped?
Yeah,
Or
then we
made
have
into
to
like
come
an
find
undead.
you.
I mean, I almost was.
See, you're already susceptible. So, can we at least finish eating before we go? And do we want to go, or do we want to wait until our stones are ready to go again?
No, we had gateway back,
Yeah, we'd have to get to the gateway.
which will arrive at that gateway.
Yeah, we have to come out of that gateway, and then we're going to go into the city. What if something happens in the city and we need to leave immediately?
Run like hell.
I mean, I could do it, but you're small,
You can carry
and
me.
he's dainty.
I have magic.
I could carry both of you, and probably Fifi.
Fifi doesn't weigh hardly anything.
Alright. I'm game. I want to see if there's a magic shop there anyway. I wanna buy a thing.
I could see if there's any bows for Fifi.
What time of
Yeah,
day is it?
all kinds of accessories. I bet they
here?
accessorize all of their
Here
undead there,
it
so they're
is.
used to working with like the bone.
Like about
Yeah.
10:30,
Sometimes it's hard to
11ish.
see things
Yeah,
on her,
Okay.
but they fall off.
pretty
And
early.
Honestly, have you
Uh,
tried magnets? Put a magnet on the inside.
is it roughly the same time in Deshay right now?
That's a good
Yeah,
idea.
maybe an hour later. I
Yeah.
don't know exactly.
Yeah, I don't think I know where on the big
The
map.
shade is on the
it's
same
actually
lateral.
about 2 hours ahead of you guys. So it'd be about 1-ish.
Okay.
That's not too bad.
It's not a significant
Yeah.
difference.
Yeah, because we don't want to be there at nighttime.
They mostly come out at night.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm good with finishing up food and then going.
So you spend a few more minutes finishing a very tasty meal, some good foods, a few drinks, and then set out to do your thing.
Before we go, can I hunt down Eskin real quick?
He's still at the table talking business with those other people.
Oh, is he? Okay, never mind. Then we'll leave him be. And then we'll make our way to that portal.
Alright, so stepping through the portal, you come out in you leave the warm tropical island with the birds and the fragrant smells of the jungle flowers and the fruits into a cold, damp, gray environment. Around you, you see a flat, granite square area surrounded by columns. In the very center of which, near where you appeared, is a tall statue of what looks like it might be an angel, but it has a hood pulled up over her face, and then inside all you see is a skull. And she's kind of like leans over, and she's got this long scythe that she clutched in both hands that kind of goes up and then arcs over her. And she's just kind of covered in moss and ivy. Ivy twists around these tall columns, and you see a street about 30 feet or so away past these two granite stone buildings that seem to look like oversized crypts, for lack of a better term. They're adorned with like gargoyles. They're very cold and gray, which seems to match everything that you see pretty much in every direction. The sky, the earth, the stone, everything is just varying shades of gray. Even the plant life that you see around only seems dull and lackluster, with just kind of dreary looking. You can hear people walking back and forth down the streets, but no one seems to be moving with any kind of pep to their step, as it were. They just seem to trudge along. Some of them do chat amongst themselves, but no one seems to have noticed that you've appeared in this area.
Is there anything that looks like it's street signs or like an information board, that kind of thing?
Well, right now you're just kind of looks like what you're in, like maybe a back alley somewhere. You're the only way out of this like weird square you're in is basically through the alley out to the street.
All right, well,
You don't see anybody even back here in this area.
I'll head to the main street then.
You walk out to the main street and you see people shuffling by. Their skin is pale. They don't even attempt to try to keep the drizzling rain like off of themselves, so their hair is just kind of wet and kind of hangs limp and sticks to their kind of cold white flesh. Their eyes are sunken and the skin is pale and their eyes are kind of dark for the most part. Their clothing, though you wouldn't really say is like tattered or torn, like they're like completely beggars or whatever, but it is very simple garb. In most cases, it looks like most people dress in blacks, whites, and grays. A handful of like dirty brown colors here and there, but you looking around, you don't see anything much of actual color. It's like the people actually dress as drearily as the environment. And the city itself, as you step out into the street, you just see these almost monumental structures. Everything seems like it's made out of the same gray granite stone, and massive slabs and big blocks. Gargoyles kind of adorn most of the street, most of the buildings overlooking the street, and most of them like leaning over and their mouths open and the rainwater pouring out of them into like just rivers of water that kind of runs down the centers of the street. You see a handful of carts, some being pulled by animals, some just smaller carts being pulled by humans with kind of wilted looking vegetables and stuff in the backs of them. You see towards one end of the street, it seems to be going, as best you can tell, towards the east. The street runs east to west. Towards the east side, you see it kind of twists and winds and goes deeper into the city, whereas off to the west, you see that it seems to open up and you can see the kind of gray ocean. Not too far, maybe about another 30 or 40 feet, it kind of opens up and you can see the ocean. So you seem to be on the westernmost side of the city.
Okay. Any signage or anything that kind of says, city square, center, any shops looking things, anything that looks like?
You see a couple of buildings that have bronze plaques on the side of them. Do you speak
Dioran.
Okay. Yeah, you recognize a couple of, or you see a couple of shop names, though they don't really look like what you would consider a traditional shop. They look, because you don't really see much in the way of windows for the most part. It's just these dark entryways into dark and dreary buildings. But you do see one that's not too far away that says Kilgrave's Mercantile.
Alright. For lack of a better option, there's a store over there. I think we should at least go check it out, and I don't think it's going to have what we're looking for, but get directions at least.
Yeah.
So,
Let's go. I'll follow you.
so I'll head over and go in.
Alright, so you kind of go up and the door is a heavy oak door and you kind of pull it open and there's a slight ring, much like the colors of the city, the sound seems almost hollow and half-hearted as it kind of rings and you step into a shadowy building. You see shelves kind of pressed up against the walls and then like one row of other shelves like right down the center of this very long, narrow chamber. At the far end of which you see that there is a counter set up with a large, some sort of metal device sitting upon it. It's got a very beautiful bronze scroll work across it and kind of a flowery design. And it's got this weird rectangular section that has a glass plate in it and these little white tabs that stick up that have numbers. On the other side of the counter, you see this very, very thin, frail looking gentleman, kind of grayish colored skin, wispy white hair. But you can't really, his clothes seem nice. He's got like a long black coat with a fairly nice white tunic underneath. It's a little grungy, you know, which you would kind of expect for the area. And he just kind of sits, kind of slumped on a stool, just on the other side of the strange device on the other side of the counter. He doesn't even look up when you come in.
Is there a bell?
On the door that you just came in. You look on the shelves and you see a variety of different types of things, blankets, clothing of different sorts, you know, pants, shirts, undergarments, shoes. Then you also see there are also some other things like silver platters and antique tea sets and that kind of thing. Looking about, you don't see anything that you would probably consider would be magical. It just seems like a general.
That's what I was
shop.
expecting, but I'm just gonna go up and talk to him. I'm just speaking to Erin.
As you approach him, you get right up on him, and the smell kind of hits you. He's definitely not a living person. As you approach, he kind of looks up at you, and you see the side of the face that was away from you is mostly just kind of decayed and bone. He kind of looks up at you. Yes.
I was hoping you could give us directions. Looking for a magic shop?
Weapons, spells, components, general magical goods.
More general magical goods. Like potions, possibly some items of...
You want Testivar's curious goods and oddities.
And where may we find that?
What you would want to do is travel down this road towards the eastern gate. As soon as you get to the grand crossroads, turn to the north, past the... He pauses. His mouth kind of hangs open for a second. It's like he kind of shuts down for a second. The Eternal Gardens. Once you get to the other side of the gardens, you will see a road named Asgad. Take the Asgad road to the very, very end. You will see a large gray building adorned with gargoyles, and above it you will see the name of the shop above the door. That is.
Thank you very much for your time.
Yes.
I think all he has is time.
And he kind of turns and just kind of goes back to staring at the ground.
Well, Let's head out. There's nothing I need from this place.
Smells, let's go.
I'm guessing Seraphina stands out like a sore thumb, basically.
She is small.
Alright, so step back out into the street and the rain kind of hits you and it's cold, almost icy. You kind of turn and begin making your way in the direction that he sent you in.
Heading east towards the Grand Crossroads.
Which you're not really certain as to what to expect for the Grand Crossroads. But once you get there, you realize exactly what it is. The city itself seems to be set up in almost a spoke-like pattern. And in this very, very center area, it seems all roads cross here. In this very, very broad, open space that goes out probably 300 or 400 yards across. You see numerous kind of these statues, it almost looks like a cemetery with all the various statues and everything that kind of pop up, and there's like people walking in amongst them and everything. You don't see any plant life or anything, just this big, huge stone open area with just dozens upon dozens upon dozens of statues.
Are we there yet?
You look to the north and you see something though that kind of catches your eye now that you're kind of out a little bit more in the open and you can kind of see the skyline. You see this tower that stretches up several hundred feet into the sky. This black, shadowy looking edifice that just stretches up and up and up. You see thunder or you see lightning crashing all around, up around the top of it. You don't see any windows in the side of this thing except that near the very, very top where there's a balcony that kind of runs around the very, very top of it.
I'm guessing that's where the Lord Deshay lives.
Yeah.
I don't know how well known it is outside of the Aura and Deshay itself, but I would assume. I guess let's head north to and past the Eternal Gardens.
To Azcad Road.
That's good. Alright, so you head north and you're following the northernmost road, one that basically heads due north.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a broad thoroughfare and you see a number of people walking along. This particular section of the city seems to be a bit more well-to-do. You see more people walking around in finer clothing. They seem to be moving to places with some sort of purpose. You see a handful that are smiling and everything. You see a carriage go by being pulled by 4 horses with these big plumes of red plumes on the tops of their heads. And the red is the first thing that catches your eye because it is just brilliant in comparison to everything else around you. Just these bright red plumes that just kind of just stand out in all of the bleak grayness around you. As the carriage kind of rolls to a stop a few yards away from you, you see this woman get out and she's dressed in this very beautiful dress that comes up with a high collar with the frills, lacy frill that kind of comes out around the base of her head. Her hair is just like the plumes on the horses, is just this deep crimson red. It falls down in big trusses around her shoulders and everything. She kind of turns. Her skin is very, very pale, and she's got like this little lacy black umbrella that she kind of perches that kind of keeps the rain off of her very white porcelain-like skin. She seems inhumanly flawless. Her skin is just perfectly smooth. They're very symmetrical. The eyes kind of have these deep, almost violet color to them. And she just kind of looks around. You notice most of the people, as they're walking along, kind of bow low or just avoid looking at her at all. as a or as one of her handmaidens basically goes up and opens the door, and she goes into one of the shops. Give me perception checks.
14.
Natural 20 with a 27 total.
Hey. What'd you get?
12.
12. What'd you
14.
get? 14. Alright, you're the only one that notices as it catches your attention. You guys are too distracted by the carriage and looking at the woman, but what you see when the handmaid reaches out and grabs hold of the door, you see all up and down her arms are like these strange, like pierced scars all up and down her arm.
Like in sets of 2 evenly spaced?
Yeah.
Okay.
And she pulls the door open, and the lady goes in, and then she quickly follows in behind.
Did you see that woman?
Her hair was crazy.
She was smoking hot.
Yeah, she's also a vampire. Alright, let's
I liked her umbrella.
I mean, I don't mind even nibbling on my neck.
Whoa, a vampire? Let's go. Let's go.
So you make your way down the street, and soon the crowds begin to fall back and everything, and you enter into what can only be the Eternal Gardens. It's the first place that you've found that has any kind of significant plant growth. Yeah, you've seen some ivy and stuff growing here and
Ivy
there, but
moss.
this looks like an actual garden, and it is just a maze of rose hedges that are in full bloom of these bright blood red crimson roses that just kind of just dot everything in sight. But you also notice that whatever it is about this land that makes it so dark and foreboding has had an impact on these roses, as their thorns are long and sharp and jagged looking. They look very, very dangerous. And you see a handful of people go into the garden, a handful of people coming out, but everything is, you don't see any shops or anything.
Right. Well, I know it's on the other end of the Eternal Garden.
We have to go through there?
Doesn't look like there's a way around, right?
Well, there's roads that go to either side of it.
But those roads don't head north, do they? They head.
They east and west from here. And then eventually they kind of curve off as they kind of round out.
Well, I'm not sure. The guy said into and past the Eternal Gardens.
Alright.
Guess we'll go.
So you go into the gardens, and you're kind of walking, and the path you're on kind of switches around back and forth and takes you to this very winding, sometimes it gets a little narrow, but most part it's about 20 feet wide. Just this white pathway through these various hedges and everything, until it opens up into a central area in the very heart of it, where there's like this beautiful white columned marble building that's basically kind of like a giant gazebo. For lack, I don't know what else you would call it, but it's just a big open building. It looks like a cage. No, the gazebo.
Sorry,
is not
no,
attached.
I wasn't going to. It just reminded me of the.
But there's people walking around in here, and the people that you see at the heart of this garden seem to be among the wealthiest that you've seen so far. They just seem to be kind of lounging, basically taking advantage and having leisurely strolls. A handful of picnics where they have like servants that are basically holding these massive umbrellas to keep the rain off of them and everything. Most of the servants that you see are definitely well beyond living at this point, and they're just kind of enjoying their time, seem completely oblivious to the constant drizzle of rain. It's like this is just how life is. In the very, very center of the large circular column structure is a slightly raised platform where you see a number of people up there playing stringed instruments, playing music for the enjoyment of the people that are enjoying the park.
Well, I guess we just keep going on. Like, is there like crossroads, or is it basically just like one other side that you basically go through?
You just go to the other side.
Do we see anybody picking the flowers? Or who has flowers?
Not really.
Alright.
Do you wish to pick a flower?
Fuck no.
Okay.
Dagmar was just kind of curious. We're in a garden full of flowers.
You haven't seen a single child.
Well, they've probably all been eaten.
Or because they're undead, they can't bother or roast children. But
Good thing.
Alright, so through to the other side of the garden. Again, it goes into kind of a narrow, winding pathway that leads you through. There are a handful of offshoots and everything, but it's pretty easy to stay on the main pathway. It's very obvious compared to the small little off branches and everything that you could take. Until you get to the other side and you enter into what looks to be a large merchant district. You see what looks to be way more conventional merchant style structures, all still mostly the same stone as the rest of the city that you've seen so far. But they have like the big, huge picture windows with like mannequins or whatever displaying articles of clothing of the fashion that is popular amongst the nobles here. Occasionally you'll see a bookstore and they'll have like books displayed. You see another store that seems to cater towards those of a more a outworlder kind of taste and decor, because you see some Venice style furniture, some of the stuff that you would expect to see from, say, Calmoria and stuff like that, things that have been imported. You also see another shop that seems to provide designer coffins, because you see a couple of coffins set up in the window with brilliant displays, one complete with corpse inside the coffin.
That's Todd. He makes minimum wage, but
he does good work. As you make your way past this point, you see that there's a side road. It's the road you want. It kind of goes. It's a very narrow road compared to the other street.
yeah, here we are. It's at the end of this one. So I turned down Mascad Road.
Alright. So as you move further and further down this narrow, almost alley-like street, the buildings seem to kind of close in a little bit up above, and the rain seems to be kind of stifled for the most part. There's still like the drips from around and everything, and it's still damp in here. But it gets to be very, very dark in this particular portion of the town. And then you notice that as you get to the end of the street, there are stairs that go down below the surface.
And are those stairs basically still part of the street?
Don't tell me we have to go down the stairs. I don't want to go down the stairs.
Not at the end of it, and I don't see a large gray building.
These people
Well,
just
I
have
see a lot of large gray buildings, but I don't see the specific one we're looking for.
Well,
These people just build
actually,
above ground.
just beyond the set of stairs, basically there's like a small area that you can walk back behind. There is a building, and there is a very small black oak door, and above it is a plaque.
Alright, I guess I'll go take a look at that plaque and see if it is the store we want.
It is Tascavar's.
Oh, thank God.
Cascavars?
Tascavar's. Alright, so you find the door to the shop that you're looking for. You step forward, pull the door open, and you look inside and you see a large square chamber with shelves on the outside walls of it, but a big open area in the very, very center with a circular, like kiosk style counter. In the center of that kiosk-style counter, you see a tall, pale gentleman, long black hair that's tied with a black ribbon into a ponytail, and he's wearing a very nice long coat with the ruffles around the edges of his sleeves for under the shirt, with the shirt underneath, and around the collar with a thin black tie kind of hangs down across it. And he kind of looks at you and he's like, "Can I help you?" He kind of steeples his fingers.
Yes, we're actually looking for supplies for water breathing.
Oh, yes,
Seraphina is
yes.
also stapling her fingers at him.
Stapling them?
Yeah.
Ah!
So she thinks.
He's like, please, come in. I believe that I have something that will be of use to you. And he kind of flops open like a little
Like on the counters, like that flips up? Or...
Yeah, it's basically flips open a section of the counter, steps through, and starts going through various things. One side of the room has like varying potions, everything, just kind of stacked on these shelves. And then he goes over to a section. He pulls down kind of this strange looking helmet with like a fin that kind of ripples down the back of it, kind of like a fish-like frill.
Mm-hmm.
He pulls that down, tucks it under an arm, and he goes over and he's like looking around. Pulls off a belt that looks like it's made out of like maybe fish scales or something. Pulls that down, kind of goes over to another thing. He's like, takes out a pair of gloves, pulls those down. He's like, "How many are you seeking?"
Well, there's at least 2 of us, potentially 2 more, but I don't know if we have enough on us to get all 4. They're currently MIA.
He kind of reaches over, kind of opens up like a glass case that you see a bunch of jewelry and stuff, and he pulls out a ring and a necklace. Kind of closes that, and he comes over and puts the items onto the thing. So this is your standard helm of underwater breathing. You put it on, and it helps you, provide you oxygen while you are beneath the surface of the water, and also helps you swim a little bit better, so that you feel more comfortable underwater. This particular item will run you 1,500 gold pieces. Kind of slides it to the side. This belt is the belt of the merfolk. While wearing this belt, you can activate it to grant yourself a limited time underwater for breathing. It's not quite as good as the helmet, but it will work for a time. It will last for up to 2 hours a day. And then, of course, you are kind of on your own. The nice thing about the belt, however, it does allow you to speak underwater normally. The helmet will also allow you to do that, but obviously that's because you're contained.
Enclosed, yeah.
This is 800 gold, and sets it to the side. These gloves, though they won't grant you the ability to breathe underwater, they do grant you the ability to swim faster. Say, for example, you don't necessarily need to be able to breathe. This will at least help you swim. It's probably not your choice of things, but I figured I'd bring it out as it is related. Sets it off to the side. These are 300 gold for these. The gauntlets of swimming, if you wish to know. Now this ring is the ring of the octopus. While you wear this ring, you can turn it on and you become octopus-like in nature. You don't actually become an octopus, but the lower half of your torso becomes tentacles, and you can breathe underwater. Pretty handy. It is not limited in its overall resources, but it is a turn it off, turn it on type of thing with a command word. Of course, you breathe underwater and you gain a swim speed, plus all the advantages of having 8 extra limbs.
Oh.
He sets it to the side. This is quite expensive though, as this is 5,000 gold. He sets it to the side. And then you have this, and he holds up the necklace, and it has like a little piece of coral that's carved into the shape of a mermaid. And this is the necklace of the merfolk. While wearing this, if you say a command word, you can transmorph yourself into a merfolk. Of course, gaining the ability to breathe underwater and swim accordingly. Now, the octopus one and the merfolk one does not grant very good vocal abilities underwater, as you are still basically pushing water through your lungs, and as I am sure you're aware, the way voices work, water and air do different things with your voice. So things to keep in mind. The necklace is also 5,000 gold. Sets it up there. However, with these two items, the octopus one and the mer one, technically you could exist underwater indefinitely if you were to decide that you wish to go live amongst the merfolk, or perhaps with the sea elves to the north. You can definitely do that.
So the only sea elves you know of are to the north?
That I personally am aware of. I am certain that he knows where many of the underwater cities are located. Well, he's elf. I'm assuming they teach these kinds of things in school.
Yeah, I've learned
that's what I meant.
one place that's... Where is Cathar from Diora? Is it like...
West.
It is west. Alright, so you are here.
Mm-hmm.
It is like right down
It's
here.
off photo. Okay, yeah.
You are here. So, no potions then? Or
I could acquire some potions. I do not currently have any potions of underwater breathing. I do have a scroll, if that is something that you
well,
desire.
what you have is way cooler.
I can acquire potions, however. I would just simply have to put in a request with my with a distributor. I know a particular alchemist / potion maker that could produce them, but it would take him approximately 2 weeks, I am guessing, to provide you with 3 potions.
Well,
It takes a considerable amount of time to brew and allow it to age. And
certainly. Well, I'm going to let him and her think about that, because I'm already covered for the underwater thing. Do you have any bags that hold more than they should?
Bags of holding, handy haversacks. Yes, I have both of those things.
Well, what could I
How are
get
you
for...
I have
She, like,
200
fiddles in her purse.
Okay, so add a 0 to
Do you have any of those that I could get with 500 gold?
Basically.
The standard bag of holding I can sell for 500 gold. I actually have 3 different styles if you wish to look at them. And he's like, please come while they discuss their purchase options.
For sure.
He takes you over to a cabinet and he kind of points. Okay, now this particular bag, as he points to one, is kind of just a standard looking black satchel with a little bit of like rose scroll work kind of carved into the leather and everything. He's like, this is just the standard. It's very popular amongst travelers from out of the area. You'd be surprised how many adventurers pass through this particular region. Apparently there are lots of things to do for adventurers in our kingdom. I don't understand why.
It's a very unique place.
I see. Now, this one is a personal favorite of mine. This one belonged to my great-great-grandmother. She left it to me last year when she decided to go ahead and retire. Kind of points at it. It's just kind of a bone white satchel with a plethora of like little like flowers all over it. Kind of like looks like it's made out of like a cloth, kind of like an old-fashioned carpet bag. You know what those are?
No.
Okay. Well, it looks like an old-fashioned carpet bag, but it's white with a whole bunch of like little flowers just like stitched all into it, like cross-stitched all into it. It looks like like a little old lady purse almost. But if you look very, very closely at the very center of each of the flowers is little skulls.
Your grandmother was a talented stitch worker.
Yes. She was occupied her time with that kind of thing later in her unlife. Now, this one over here is... I just acquired this one from a very lovely couple that was intending to get married and purchase a plot of land of their own, and they were trying to acquire money. And well, they brought this one in. It belonged to an uncle of theirs. And you see this blood red one with kind of a almost like a bat motif to it.
That's hard. Because that's the one that appeals to me. I kind of want the Skull of Flowers one because I think Dorian would get a kick out of it. And she also likes the black one with the roses because, you know.
Right.
So.
They're all 500 gold. I charge the same for each, even though this particular one is, well, personal favorite of mine because of sentimental reasons, but sentiment should never come in the way of business.
Well, I'll tell you what, I am myself a pretty big fan of my grandmother. So she was pretty famous captain, pirate ship, whatever.
Oh.
Just to keep it in the family, to keep along with the family thing I've got going on, I'm gonna take that one.
Ah.
I'll take good care of it.
Very well. Kind of opens up the case and takes it out. He's like, please. And takes it over to the counter. Have you determined which ones you would like to purchase?
Fuck did I just buy?
Well, I have a question. Would you be interested in purchasing a collar that binds undead creatures to you?
It's like, possibly. May I see it?
Here you go.
So he kind of looks at it. He's like, pretty common. And he's like, sure. 50 gold.
This thing is hideous. Why did you sell this to me?
You looked up carpet bag.
It's like little old lady bags.
I told you.
It's literally carpet.
Yeah, they're made from carpet, yeah.
I did not know that.
Do you wish to change your mind?
Nah, I'm in it to win it now. I'll probably give it to Dorian for his birthday though.
He's got a bag of holding of his own.
Does it have flowers and skulls on it?
Nope.
You probably wouldn't be caught dead with it.
Oh! You know, actually, my friend Dorian could probably use one too. Can I buy? It cuts into my house fund, but I want to buy the Batwing one too.
Oh, very well. Dorian, you say? Mm-hmm. Takes it out.
As you just, name drop one of the Deshays.
Deshay, yeah. He was a friend of mine. I met him in Alondia.
He's my ex-boyfriend.
Oh.
It's complicated.
Yeah.
I see.
I'll hand over 1,000 gold. There you go. 1, 2. Makes it easier to mark it off too. Just delete the 1.
Well, I guess because I don't have enough gold to buy the octopus ring.
That is a pretty neat idea though. We might have to come back.
It does
to that.
look like an
Sea
octopus.
witch. I could have finally been a sea witch.
Yeah, she wanted to go.
Poor unfortunate souls.
Well, it's too bad you don't have any items that denote your friendship with the Deshae family.
Well, I have Fifi.
I mean,
Fifi is worth more to me.
oh no.
Ring.
I'm not insinuating. Have you met Fifi? Check Fifi out. So Dorian has this orb, right? And we'd gone through and we were doing an adventure, and at the end of it, we come across this adorable little creature, and it's just frolicking out in the wilderness. And he's like, "Seraphina, my lovely lady friend, here, have a deer." And he just with this orb.
We hadn't consummated our relationship yet.
I
It happened
didn't need to
very
know that.
quickly afterwards.
And he gave her this.
Fifi.
Very, very interesting. Well, thank you for your business.
Oh, well, certainly. I'll make sure to let Dorian know this is a great shop to stop in too,
Because
because he's going to be here more often than I am, honestly.
to be honest, the Deshaes have never visited my store.
Oh, that's a shame. It's a nice store. Like little racks.
I thank you. I take a great deal of pride in my shop.
As you should.
Yeah. I don't think we have anything that proves that we're actually friends with him, other than stories and Fifi. So.
Or if he did give us anything, I didn't write it down. So,
No, that was the one thing that he gave me. Was Fifi. So what are you going to buy?
well,
So if you want to get the helmet, I'll get the gloves and
the belt. Yeah, I will,
Why would you get both?
because it has
Well,
a 2-hour limit,
yeah.
you could,
And I don't know how
Swim
long
faster in
I
that
can
2
swim
hours?
faster.
or does the belt actually do the speed as well?
Yeah, the belt gives you a swim.
Okay, so you wouldn't need
Alright.
The
it.
Well,
gloves
these
just
gloves.
give you basically.
I wasn't sure if you needed. Yeah, I wish I knew how far down it was.
Well, if you wish to come back and purchase it later, or if you have other items to sell. Unfortunately, the collar is fairly common in these areas. There are mindless undead that, for those that don't have the aptitude of their own, putting a collar on one is generally the best
How
way
much
to
do these
go.
scrolls generally sell for? I guess it depends on the spell.
Yeah, it depends on the spell.
So I think I do have a couple from a previous adventure that never got used.
Okay. What spell level?
I don't have the spell level, so let me check what the spell is.
Okay.
I feel like I'm missing something important here.
Let's see.
What are you looking for?
So it's
I had a notebook earlier. Now.
Was it a handy dandy notebook?
It was a handy dandy notebook.
Oh, well, I'm sorry for your loss.
That's okay.
1 second level and 2 third level.
You said 1 second and 2/3?
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure they've never got used. Because yeah, Sylen is all out of stuff to sell that he doesn't want to keep.
What did you guys do with all that money that you made?
What do you mean? I had
You guys
15
had like,
gold.
you guys had like
Well,
literally thousands upon thousands of gold pieces, enough to buy a ship. What did you guys do with it?
We had 6 party members. Because we split that
I did
between...
buy the amber ring. That was 5K.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, we split it between his character, Nicole, Cassidy, PJ, Erin, Steve. So there's 4 other party members is cut.
And honestly, we never
Missing.
actually really split or divvied out all that money on the floating disc. That's all just sitting on the island.
Yeah.
That was never properly dealt with.
Which we should probably do at some point, just because it's got...
And that was
We've
all.
got the trade route.
That was all before Sylen, so Sylen has no idea anything about that.
That's true.
And none of the 3 of us know anything about that. That's all Kara and Wentsu.
It's
Oh,
true.
yeah. And Wentsu's somewhere like, ha 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 ha, yes!
He's siphoning it away, hiding it.
need to hurry up and finish all this house flying nonsense
do have-
because I need to buy a set of these pens, and I can't do that until we have a house.
Both are uncommon. All three are uncommon.
The glittery pens that you brought last week. We buy them in SD card though, because that's like a necessary purchase. Like this is our thing. So. But it gives me something to work towards.
I do have enough for the helm, but if we could get the helm and at least one of the rings or the necklace, that would definitely be helpful. But I doubt the spell's going to be worth enough.
They are uncommons. Sorry, I'm not
No, it's alright.
certain as to where that little chart is exactly.
I don't have my DMG with me, or else I'd be able to help look it up too. But
So for the second level it'd be 250, and for the thirds it'd be 500 each.
so 1250.
I've got a little bit of gold left if you guys need more to get where we're going to.
0, 2, 1, 5. So total, Sylen has 3,520 gold worth of stuff on him with those scrolls.
Oh, so you have a lot of magical items.
Yes. There are others that I have down in storage that aren't quite as popular, but yeah, I have a few.
So would you say that you're, fairly good at identifying them, or do you outsource that sort of service?
No, I do that myself.
All right, check this out. Look what I've got. And I'm going to show him my Zamir's Marvelous Alchemy bag. See what he thinks of that.
But sometimes like, if you will give me a moment, and pull
Sure.
out a pearl and a little thing. He kind of begins the process of
It looks like this
ritual
too.
casting, pretty much. And then he's like, it's done. He's like, this is very impressive. I've never seen such a thing.
It's pretty unique, right? Do you
I
know
didn't
how
even know
it's-
Zamir had created such a thing.
Well, he's a resourceful guy. I've never met him myself, but, anybody could come up with something this interesting.
My
My grandmother had a hat that she could pull tokens off of that created things, like feather tokens or tokens
yes.
of the owl. It was...
I have a handful of feather tokens. This is a very nice. This is a nice bag. Would you like to part with it?
Well, I'm not necessarily in the market to part with it. Just thought I'd share with another collector who
Oh, that's.
might be interested. Well, I mean, how much would an item like this go for?
Well, I would be willing to give you either 700 or 7,500 gold pieces for it, or we could work out a trade. There were a couple of expensive items that these two had wanted. We could do that instead.
Champagne takes out of your budget.
Okay.
We like the spendy things, but we don't have the money for it.
Yeah, I mean, do we need those things? Like, do we really need them?
We need at least 2.
Yeah,
Well,
we need,
I mean, I can get 1,
and I can get.
and then we could get the belt, but the belt is only a 2-hour swim speed, and we don't know how far down we need to go.
Well, how far off are we from getting the other item that we wanted? You said there were 3 items, right? The necklace or something?
Well, if we
Well,
wanted to get all 3, that would be worthwhile. That would be 11,500 gold.
Holy shit.
But if we only wanted to get 2, it would be 6,500 because there's one that's cheaper, and then one of the 2 expensive ones that don't have the time limit, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And what you have
I have
2.
I have 2,267 gold pieces.
So, but like between us, if we pulled our money together, we could get one of the expensive ones, but that still leaves us one short.
Well, how if you are not willing to get rid of the bag, and trust me, I completely understand it. It's an amazing artifact of very interesting abilities. I like it.
Right?
greatly.
It does weird stuff.
We could potentially work out a deal. You are adventurers, I take it. That's the reason why you are needing these items.
Absolutely. There's an underwater temple we're gonna go check out. Well, I
Well,
don't know.
it's
It's not a
city.
temple.
It's
It's a
not a
whole
s-
city. There's probably a
that's-
temple.
That sounds
In the city.
That sounds amazing. And one day I wish to hear all about it if you return.
Oh, I'm good at telling stories.
But there is someone that owes me a considerable amount of money.
Oh, do we need to break some knees?
Well, I don't
Because we can
particularly.
do that.
It's very
I-
crass.
I don't particularly care how you go about doing it. However, there are laws within the kingdom that prevent me as a citizen from doing things that would get it. And then, of course, going through the courts to acquire everything takes far more time than I really wish to
Well,
put into such an endeavor.
Maybe they just forgot they owe it to you. Maybe we could just go ask them to return it.
That is what I believe might be the case. But if you would be so inclined as to seek out this fellow and perhaps get my money back, we can work out a deal. You said that you are short for one of the items that you wish to have. I am assuming one of the items you would like to have is the ring. I have overheard you mention it once or twice. I can give you the ring for free. Well, in exchange for your services.
So, where's this guy at?
Well, he's. You will most likely find him in one of the taverns. In the necropolis below the city.
I'm assuming the stairs out there lead to.
There are a number of stairs, but that is
one
the
entrance.
the nearest, obviously. You could be hanging around the gnawed bone, or perhaps at the mauled skull. That's two of the possible hangouts that you could encounter him.
Sound like very upstanding places.
I would not necessarily say that. In the necropolis, there are places that one does not go when they are living, without being prepared to deal with shady shenanigans.
Maybe I should have just let the necklace turn me into a vampire. Then I wouldn't have this whole breathing thing to worry
Now,
about.
I will
That's
tell
true.
you, Marius is a ghoul of some influence in the city below.
Does Marius have a last name?
Valtan.
I'm assuming that name does not ring any bells of any particular import, because I don't really know much about Diora or anything like that.
Not really. It's not exactly a noteworthy person.
Just checking, because if they were, then we might be in over our heads. We might still be anyway, but
This is nerve-wracking. Are you sure we can't teleport to a Rondi and bring Dorian with us just in case? I mean, he knows all the rules and stuff around here.
why?
Many of the rules don't apply in the necropolis. And as outsiders, you are not completely compelled to follow all of those rules anyway. However, I do recommend not getting into dealings with any of the noble families.
For sure. And be respectful.
Yes.
So what do both of you think?
I'm willing to go knock on Marius's door. I want to get us the things to be able to complete this juncture that we're at.
Yeah. And we don't have 2
But-
weeks to sit around and wait for potions to be made.
I mean, we kind of do.
We
But
kind of do, but
who wants that?
But again, potions again are just what, an hour each, so that still gives us like, we don't know how far down we need to go.
Now remember, I am not expecting you to do this. I am just putting it out there as a possibility if it's something that you are inclined to do. You said that you had enough for the belt and the helmet. Perhaps those are sufficient for your needs.
I mean, worst comes to worst, if we do that, the belt doesn't get us far enough, and whoever has the belt,
Drowns.
drowns and dies.
no, just teleports out with their crystal.
Oh, that's also an option. I'm sorry, it's this place. It's bringing me down.
I don't understand.
We live on a tropical island, so this is
Oh, how terrible.
very different. Dorian didn't like it. It was all sweaty and warm and
Was he
sunny.
even there?
Yeah.
Yeah, we went there for a couple weeks when we were stuck in
Over the
Aradia.
holidays.
No.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember if Dorian was there or not.
That was when we broke up.
he needed to be taken away. So I took him away from her so that she could focus on her play 'cause she was busy. All right.
Yeah.
Well, if we're gonna do this, we gotta go down. We gotta find this Marius guy, and we gotta get back above ground before the sun sets.
What time is it right now?
Like, what, is it like 1 or 2?
You know what? He might also be at the Blood Rose. There is a pretty important person, a VIP as it were, visiting that particular tavern below. Very popular. She's quite the bard.
Does she have long flowing red hair?
Indeed.
Oh, it's the hottie.
Ah! Alright. With a nice umbrella. Well, we won't waste any more of your time. But, hopefully, we have good news for both of us when we return.
Oh, so you intend to do this, or do you wish to some time to talk about it? There is an inn nearby if you wish to think overnight, sleep on it as it were. The Gentle Repose is a very pleasant place. Very comfortable beds. You could probably sleep there forever.
Whatever we do, we need to do it quickly because Dagmar is looking very nervous.
I'm just, I miss my hammock. And there is nothing against Diorn hospitality, but I want to go.
I mean, it's probably about, what, 3-ish? With the,
Yeah,
Yeah.
about 3-ish.
Alright.
About how long it took you to make your way here and everything.
and the time difference from Gylar.
I'm down, but we gotta move if we
We gotta
do.
book it.
Does the Blood Rose have a entrance up top?
Yes, it is one of the few that is a multi.
Level, storied?
Yes, I guess you could call it that. They do business above and below.
Because I think we saw her heading into a tavern on the way here. A building. We didn't stop and look at what the building was.
Interesting.
She has a very striking appearance.
Yes, she's very beautiful. So I've been told. I have never met her in person. Interesting. Well, if you are willing to do this, I can write up the standard contract of business as required by the Oran law.
What exactly is in that contract?
Oh, the usual about once you take the deal, then you are bound to complete the task until either satisfied by both parties that all agreements have been met, or until released from said contract by the contractee, so on, so on, so on. It's not very complicated. It's only 14 pages.
I can hear a little voice in my head that sounds kind of like an albino tiefling saying, "Oh, don't do it."
And there's also another voice in your head saying they probably have his sign it in blood too, right?
Yeah. Come on, you're ad hoc party leader. You decide.
What did you just say?
Ad hoc.
I thought you said ad fuck.
You're the ad fucker. Okay.
Hey, I've got ad block on, all right.
So he practices safe flocking. Good to know.
All right.
It might be safer if we just buy the belt and then whoever uses it, probably me, I can just blink myself back out to the surface.
You probably don't have any spells that deal with water breathing.
I certainly don't.
Yeah. So you would.
I'm not a spellcaster.
All right.
If we go down into the necropolis, we'll probably die.
That does sound pretty dangerous.
And I don't want to die. Who would take care of Fifi if I were gone?
Well, I mean, maybe it's like an association thing. Maybe because you are so close with her that you too would become a boned person to walk around.
That would be nice.
To be fair, should you die in the necropolis, odds are you would come back.
Yeah, and then Dorian could just like orb you or something. I don't know.
You already did that. That's why we broke up. Got a little awkward.
But you mean you don't want Dorian's orbs again?
Nah, had him.
We should move on to bigger, better things.
Yeah.
Alright. Yeah, I think we should just get the helm and the belt.
Yes.
Oh,
I think
very
that's
well.
a safer choice.
So I will.
Not that we don't want to help you, but we have a mission and it doesn't include death. Not at this time.
Or at least not at the level of involvement that would in.
Yeah, like once I die, I just want to stay dead. I don't want to come back.
Oh,
She's very vanilla.
it's very bizarre. I don't understand. But very well. If I understand your alien and foreign ways are different than
Yes, we're
the
very
sensible
strange.
folk of Diora.
I mean, I'm not even from this plane, so all of this is weird to me.
Alright, so you can just subtract 80 platinum.
Okay.
So I hand over the 150 platinum to get the helm of water breathing,
Okay.
And I am buying the belt.
the belt of the merfolk.
Yep.
Oop. I put that on the wrong spot.
All right. There you go.
And then we should make our way back to. Yeah, and I did sell those scrolls.
I did not sell
I didn't need
Fifi's
to
collar.
actually.
So
So
keep it.
I'm gonna.
Keeping it.
I will sell the scrolls just to get them. I'm a little broke otherwise, so I will take
Okay.
the
So 12
the 1250.
Really though, that guy was pretty nice. We should recommend, well, you know, maybe he's interested in doing like trade stuff. Setting up all those portals and things. I mean, he doesn't seem keen on coming to the island, but it's not for everybody. I get that.
Alright, so we should probably make our way back to the portal out of Deshay.
Yeah.
I did not write the helm of water breathing down.
wonder if Sandra can cast water breathing spells.
I don't know if clerics can. It's not something I'm familiar with. I know that I can pick up an Eldritch Invocation that allows me to breathe underwater, but I would need to level up for that. It's actually in Xanathar's guide.
I
It's
think
not,
at 7th level is when you get your next evocation, right?
I do get
So
it.
I'm surprised you didn't sell the scroll of teleportation.
I forgot about it until I just looked at it.
What spell level is it?
I mean, I suppose we could still go back. What is teleportation? Wizard. It's a 7th level spell scroll. How much would that be?
8,000 gold.
1,000 gold. We haven't technically left yet. I guess if we're already here, we do. You know that scroll that Halfling gave us?
Mm-hmm.
It actually would cover one of those items.
And then some.
And then some.
You don't want to keep it as a... I mean, we already kind of have oh shit buttons, right?
Yeah. Plus, the way teleportation spells work is that you have to be pretty familiar with where you're going to actually get there. If you're not, you can end up
Spliced.
Elsewhere?
Partially.
It's not even splice, it's just completely,
In a different location.
yeah.
Yeah, we've already
Sounds
fucked
worse.
around with the planes once in this week, so let's keep that to a minimum. I mean, if
Um,
you're gonna sell it, Tescovar seems to be the
Actually,
guy.
I forgot, I just got this scroll, so it slipped my mind that I even had it. And I pull out the scroll of teleportation. And I will,
He will give you 8,000.
you say 8,000?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I will pick up the Ring of the Octopus and give it to Seraphina.
Okay. So you keep in the belt.
Should we hold on to that?
I feel
someone
bad
else?
that we've already bought it, that I'm giving it back at this point. I mean, it's up to Seraphina.
You can hold on to it for Fifi,
Fifi doesn't need to breathe underwater,
but it gives her a swim speed, right?
but I'm going to be holding on to her, and it's very thoughtless of you to mention breathing in front of her.
I'm new to the undead.
She's over.
She's
walking
been with us
into
for
a
weeks.
creepy dude.
Alright, so you have the Ring of the Octopus now.
But yes, I'll still hold on to it because we might have someone that needs it.
It's true.
So,
What color?
can I put it in your bag of holding?
It's not gonna implode, is it?
No, it's
Okay.
not another portal.
But I couldn't put the bag inside the bag, right?
No.
Okay.
Emphatically no.
I have an intelligence of 10 people. I don't know what I'm doing.
That's not dumb though.
No, but
10
it
is
is
above-
magical.
10 is above average.
But magic
Well,
works
technically 10
differently
It's
here
roughly average, but
than it
it's-
does on my previous plane of existence. So yeah, sure, I can put that in there.
Okay, and then if someone needs it, it's there.
Alright, belt of swimming.
Yeah.
No, belt of
The merfolk.
sea elfin kind.
No, it's Belt of the Merfolk. It's
I was getting closer, people.
Excuse me.
Boom.
It is a really pretty belt, though. It's like rainbow scales.
Ooh.
Do I have to take them off in order to make friends?
No, somebody took them off the fish
Order to make friends?
and.
The book is always really disturbing.
What is it called? Rainbow fish or?
I think it's rainbow fish.
I remember that.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's like the fish is really pretty and colorful,
Yeah.
and all of the other fish are jealous. So it basically pulls off its scales and gives
names
them to
itself?
other other fish in order to basically buy friends.
Self-mutilation to fit in with society.
Yeah,
Great
but
morals for our children.
yeah, it's great.
The Diorans love it. I'm sure.
Probably.
All right, let's make our way back to the portal we came in on. So we'll head.
Well, you know how to get back.
Yeah.
So. Alright, so you make your way back over there and pop through the portal and find yourself once again on a glorious tropical island where it is not raining. The sun is still shining. Sweet fruits can be smelled on the air along with fragrant flowers. The wild animals in the jungle, and you can smell the smoke from a bonfire on the beach being lit for the late night celebrations that happen pretty much nightly on the island for all the visitors. And that's where we'll stop for tonight.
Ooh.